An infant will be trusting if their basic physiological needs are met as outlined in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If those needs are not met, and say for instance the infant is left to cry and not fed on a routine, then that infant will develop a sense of mistrust. Children begin to develop a sense of control over their environment and over physical things, which gives them a sense of independence. Their fine motor skills begin to be fine-tuned so they can manipulate things as their mind wants them to manipulate things. And when they are able to do this, they develop a sense of autonomy. And when they fail, then they develop feelings of shame and doubt. Industry versus inferiority. This is the school-age child between the ages of 6 and 11. This stage revolves mostly around developing friendships and academics in the school environment. If a student is able to develop friendships and have academic success, then they have feelings of industry. I can do anything. If they fail in these areas, then they are likely to have feelings of inferiority. Identity versus role confusion. These are adolescents between the ages of 12 and 18. And they are basically just trying to find out who they are and where they are going. If they had success in the previous stage, then they have established friends and academic success, and they have a sense of self. They have an identity. If they failed and continue to fail in this area, then they have role confusion, and it leads to a weak sense of self. Sometimes having role confusion and maybe even beginning to isolate themselves. Intimacy versus isolation. These are young adults from the ages of 19 to 40, and they are establishing long, strong relationships. And they do this using all of the skills that they develop in all of the other stages. And those who have these relationships have a feeling of intimacy and success. Those who don't have these relationships have feelings of isolation. And isolation doesn't always mean that you're alone. Sometimes you could be around other people, but there's a disconnect because the relationship is void. Generativity versus stagnation. This is middle adulthood between the ages of 40 and 65. And the theme of longevity still lingers. This is when young adults want to possess things that will outlast them. This is when you want to have children. This is when you want to have property. This is when you want to establish and leave a legacy. And when you are able to successfully do these things, you have a feeling of accomplishment, a feeling of generativity. And when you're not able to accomplish these things, you feel stagnated. Integrity versus despair is from the age of 65 to death, and it's a reflection on life where you ask yourself, have I been healthy? Have I laughed? Have I accomplished those things that I sought to accomplish? And if I did, I have a feeling of integrity. And if I didn't, I have a feeling of despair.